Welcome to the Deep Dive. We dig into sources to pull out the key insights for you, our curious listener. Today, we're tackling a really foundational story. It's more than just history. It's about the birth of a whole people. We're looking at excerpts from Exodus.pdf, charting this incredible transformation.
That's right. Our goal today is to really trace how this dispersed family becomes a nation. It's a story driven by, well, divine acts and some very detailed laws. We'll cover the escape from slavery, those early struggles in the desert, and then the setting up of their laws, and even a place for their God to dwell among them. It's quite a journey.
Okay, let's dive right in at the beginning. The text starts by listing Israel's sons who came into Egypt with Jacob. Names we might recognize, like Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah.
Yeah, the heads of the tribes. And what's striking immediately is their growth. They start as just 70 people, but then it says they became fruitful and began to increase greatly so that the land became filled with them.
And that growth is exactly where the problems start, isn't it?
It is. The situation just flips. A new king comes to power in Egypt, one who did not know Joseph. Now, this isn't just forgetfulness. It's like a deliberate ignoring of that past history, the history where Joseph saved Egypt.
Right. He sees all these Israelites and basically panics.
Pretty much. He says, look, the people of Israel are more numerous and mightier than we are. Let us deal shrewdly with them. Fear is the driver here, and that shrewd dealing translates directly into oppression.
So they appoint chiefs of forced labor. They're made to build storage cities for Pharaoh, namely Pithom and Ramses. Hard labor.
Brutal work. But here's the twist. The text explicitly says the more they would oppress them, the more they would multiply, and the more they kept spreading out.
Which, ironically, probably made the Egyptians even more scared.
Exactly. So the oppression escalates. They force the Israelites into harsh slavery, making life bitter with hard labor as they worked with clay mortar and bricks. It wasn't just work. It was about crushing their spirit.
And then it gets even darker, with the king ordering the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, to kill all the newborn boys.
Yes, but they refuse. The text says they feared the true God more than Pharaoh. It's an incredible act of defiance. So Pharaoh bypasses them and issues a public command: throw every newborn son of the Hebrews into the Nile River. It's state-sanctioned infanticide.
It's horrific, but right in the middle of this horror, there's this specific story. A Levite man and woman have a son.
And the mother hides him for 3 months. But, you can't hide a baby forever.
So she does something incredibly brave, or maybe desperate. She puts him in a papyrus basket, seals it with bitumen and pitch, and places it among the reeds in the Nile, the very river meant to kill him.
And who finds him? Pharaoh's own daughter. She felt compassion for him, a moment of grace in all this darkness, and adopts him. She names him Moses, which means drawn out of the water.
His name itself points to his future role. So he grows up, knowing his heritage, and one day sees the suffering firsthand.
Right, he sees the burdens they were bearing, and when he witnesses an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, he intervenes, kills the Egyptian, and then has to flee.
Flees to Midian, marries Zipporah, has a son named Gershom. He even says he's a foreign resident in a foreign land. He seems quite disconnected from Egypt at this point.
He is. Meanwhile, back in Egypt, the old king dies, but the slavery continues. The Israelites are still groaning, and Moses is out shepherding his father-in-law Jethro's flock near the mountain of the true God to Horeb.
And this is where the famous scene happens, the burning bush.
Yes, Jehovah's angel appeared to him in a flame of fire in the midst of a thorn bush. And the amazing thing, the thing that makes Moses turn aside, is that the bush was burning but not consumed.
It's a sign, Fleeta.
A powerful one. God calls his name. Moses, Moses. Tells him to take off his sandals because the ground is holy. And then he identifies himself. The God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He's linking himself to the promises made generations before.
And he says, he's seen their suffering. I have certainly seen the affliction of my people. I well know the pains they suffer.
It's incredibly personal. And then comes the commission, the huge task. God is sending Moses back to Egypt, to Pharaoh, to lead the Israelites out.
And Moses' reaction is, well, completely human. Who am I? He feels totally inadequate. He even says he's slow of speech and slow of tongue.
Which is relatable, right? Facing this enormous task. But God doesn't just say, get over it. He equips him.
He gives him signs.
3 specific signs: the rod turning into a serpent, his hand becoming leprous and then clean again, water from the Nile turning to blood on the ground. These are meant to convince the Israelites and Pharaoh that this is real.
And what about the speech issue?
God appoints his brother, Aaron, to be his spokesman. He will speak for you to the people, and you will serve as God to him. It's this partnership. Moses receiving the divine message, Aaron delivering it.
Okay, so armed with these signs and with Aaron, they go back. They confront Pharaoh.
And deliver the message. Jehovah says, "Send my people away so that they may celebrate a festival to me in the wilderness."
Pharaoh's response is pretty much what you'd expect, isn't it?
Total defiance. Who is Jehovah that I should obey his voice? I do not know Jehovah at all. He dismisses them completely. And not only that,
He makes things worse for the Israelites.
immediately, he orders the taskmasters, no more straw for the bricks, but the quota stays the same. Make them work harder, he says, so that they will not pay attention to lies.
So the Israelite foremen get beaten. They complain to Moses and Aaron. It seems like the plan backfired initially.
It certainly looked that way to them. They felt Moses and Aaron had just made Pharaoh hate them more, but this sets the stage for God to act in a much bigger way.
Right, the 10 plagues. This is where things really escalate.
And these aren't just random disasters. Each plague seems targeted, challenging Egyptian gods and Pharaoh's authority. It starts with Aaron's rod becoming a snake and swallowing the magician's snakes. A small victory, but Pharaoh's heart became obstinate.
Then the first plague. The Nile turns to blood, devastating for Egypt, attacking their life source and a major deity. The fish die, the water's undrinkable.
Even though the magicians mimic it somehow, maybe on a smaller scale, it doesn't help Egypt. But Pharaoh, his heart continued to be obstinate.
Second plague, frogs. Everywhere, in their houses, their beds. Unimaginable.
Again, the magicians can replicate it, adding to the misery, but they can't stop it.
Yeah.
Pharaoh actually asks Moses to pray for relief, promises to let the people go.
But as soon as the frogs are gone.
He hardened his heart. It's a pattern starting to emerge.
Third plague, gnats. Out of the dust, covering everyone, man and beast.
And this time, the magicians are stumped. They tell Pharaoh it is the finger of God. They recognize a power beyond their tricks.
But even his own experts saying that isn't enough.
Nope. Pharaoh's heart continued to be obstinate.
Okay, fourth plague, swarms of gadflies. But this one's different, right?
Yes, critically different. God makes a distinction. I will set apart the land of Goshen, where my people are dwelling. No gadflies will exist there. It's a clear sign of protection for Israel amidst Egypt's suffering.
Pharaoh tries to bargain now. Let them sacrifice, but not go far away.
Right, a compromise. Moses points out their sacrifices would offend the Egyptians anyway. Pharaoh briefly agrees, then reneges. Hardens his heart again.
Fifth plague, livestock die. Egypt's horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, sheep, but
Not one of Israel's livestock died. Pharaoh checks this himself, it's confirmed. Still, his heart remains unresponsive.
sixth plague, boils. Painful, festering boils on people and animals.
So bad the magic-practicing priests were unable to stand before Moses. They're completely sidelined now. And here the text notes, Jehovah allowed Pharaoh's heart to become obstinate. There's a sense of divine purpose in this hardening now.
Seventh plague, hail. But not just hail, very great hail mixed with fire. Unprecedented destruction.
Striking everything in the fields. But again, only in the land of Goshen there was no hail. The distinction is absolute.
And this time Pharaoh actually says, I have sinned this time. Jehovah is righteous. He promises to let them go.
He does. It seems like a breakthrough. But as soon as Moses stops the hail, he sinned again and hardened his heart, along with his servants.
Unbelievable. Okay, eighth plague, locusts.
Covering the land, eating everything the hail left behind, utter devastation. Now even Pharaoh's own officials are pleading with him. Do you not yet realize that Egypt has been ruined?
He tries another bargain. Only the men can go.
Yes, Moses refuses, everyone goes, Pharaoh gets angry, drives them out, and his heart obstinate again.
Ninth plague, darkness. A thick, tangible darkness over Egypt for 3 days.
So dark they did not see one another, but crucially, all the Israelites had light in their dwellings. Another direct challenge to Ra, the sun god, and another clear distinction.
Pharaoh makes one last attempt to compromise. Children can go, but leave the livestock.
Right. Moses insists, not an animal will be allowed to remain. They need them for sacrifices. This is the final straw for Pharaoh. He explodes, tells Moses to get out and never see his face again, threatening death if he does.
Wow, so that's the end of the negotiations.
Absolutely. The confrontation has reached its peak. The plagues have systematically dismantled Egypt's power structures and belief systems while consistently protecting Israel. Pharaoh's final threat sets the stage for the ultimate judgment.
The 10th plague, the death of the firstborn.
Yes. God announces it clearly. About midnight, I am going out into the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in the land of Egypt will die. From the highest, the lowest, Pharaoh's firstborn, to the firstborn of the slave girl, and even every firstborn of the livestock. It's universal judgment on Egypt.
And this will cause a great outcry. But Israel needs protection.
Which leads to the institution of the Passover. God gives very specific instructions. This month becomes the start of their year. On the 10th day, each family selects a perfect lamb or goat, cares for it until the 14th.
And on the 14th at twilight.
The whole congregation must slaughter it. Then, critically, they take some of the blood and splash it on the two doorposts and the upper part of the doorway.
The blood is the sign.
Exactly. God says, the blood will serve as your sign. I will see the blood and pass over you, and the plague will not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt.
And they have to eat it in a specific way. Roasted with unleavened bread and bitter herbs, eaten quickly, ready to leave.
Right. It's a meal eaten in anticipation of deliverance. And this whole event is to be a memorial, a lasting statue for all future generations. It becomes central to their identity.
And then at midnight, it happens.
It happens. Jehovah struck down every firstborn in the land of Egypt. The outcry is immense. There was not a house where someone was not dead.
And this finally breaks Pharaoh.
Completely.
Yeah.
He calls for Moses and Aaron that night, tells them, get up, get out from among my people, go and serve Jehovah just as you have said. Take everything, just go.
And the Egyptians themselves are pushing them out.
Urging them to leave quickly, saying, we are all as good as dead. They even give the Israelites silver, gold, and clothing. When asked, the text says they plundered the Egyptians. It's a reversal of fortunes after centuries of exploitation.
So they leave. After 430 years, how many people are we talking about?
The text estimates 600,000 men on foot besides children, plus a vast mixed company, non-Israelites joining them, and huge flocks and herds. They leave Ramses for Sukkoth. It's a massive migration.
The birth of a nation, really, on the move.
Absolutely. Liberated, equipped, and moving out under divine command.
And God leads them directly, with the pillar of cloud and fire.
Yes, a constant visible guide. By day in a pillar of cloud, and by night in a pillar of fire. Always present.
But he doesn't take them the easy way, the coastal route through Philistine territory.
No, and the text explains why. God says, essentially, if they face war too soon, they might get scared and want to go back to Egypt. It shows God's understanding of their trauma and fragility.
So he leads them the long way, by the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea.
Correct. And Moses remembers to take Joseph's bones, fulfilling that oath made generations ago, linking the past to this present exodus.
But freedom isn't secure yet. Pharaoh changes his mind. Again.
Of course he does. He and his officials think, why did we do this and release Israel from serving us? The economic loss hits them. So he gathers his army, his best 600 chosen chariots, and chases after them.
The Israelites see them coming, trapped by the sea, and they panic.
Utter terror. They cry out to God, but they also lash out at Moses. Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to die in the wilderness? It's that fear talking again, that slave mentality still lingering.
But Moses stands firm, tells them not to be afraid, to watch God save them. Jehovah himself will fight for you.
Incredible faith in that moment. Then, following God's command, Moses stretches his hand over the sea. A strong east wind blows all night.
And parts the waters, turning the sea basin into dry ground.
Yes. The Israelites walk through the midst of the sea on dry ground, with water like a wall on either side. It must have been terrifying and awe-inspiring.
And the Egyptians, they charge right in after them.
They do, but God intervenes, throws their camp into confusion, jams their chariot wheels. They realize Jehovah is fighting for them against Egypt, but it's too late.
Moses stretches out his hand again.
And the sea returns, covers the entire Egyptian army. Not so much as one among them was allowed to survive. Total destruction of their pursuers.
This must have been a defining moment.
Absolutely transformative. Israel sees God's power, they fear Jehovah, and they finally put faith in Jehovah and in his servant Moses. It leads to the great Song of the Sea, led by Moses and Miriam leading the women in dance, pure relief and worship.
But the wilderness journey immediately presents new problems. Water.
Right. They travel 3 days, find water at Marah, but it's bitter, undrinkable, and instantly the people murmur against Moses.
Forgetting the Red Sea already.
It seems so. Fear and discomfort quickly erase the memory of miracles. Moses cries out, God shows him a tree, he throws it in the water, and the water becomes sweet.
And God uses this moment to teach them something.
Yes, he gives them a regulation and a test. He promises if they obey him, he won't bring the Egyptian diseases on them, saying, I, Jehovah, am healing you. It connects obedience with well-being. Then they find Elim, a place with plenty of water and palms. A moment of rest.
But the relief doesn't last long. Next complaint. Food.
In the wilderness of sin, they start complaining about hunger, even romanticizing slavery. If only we had died in Egypt, they say, remembering pots of meat and bread to satisfaction.
It shows how powerful basic needs are. So God provides again.
Miraculously, he promises bread from the heavens. Manna appears each morning like a fine, flaky substance, tasting like flat cakes with honey.
Yeah.
And in the evening, quail arrive, covering the camp.
But there are rules for collecting the manna.
Strict rules. Gather only enough for the day. Gather double on the 6th day, because none will appear on the Sabbath, the 7th day of rest. Don't save it overnight. It'll rot.
And do people follow the rules?
Not everyone. Some try to save it, and it breeds worms. Some go looking for it on the Sabbath and find nothing. Each rule is a lesson in trust and obedience.
Another test comes at Rephidim. No water again.
And again, the people quarrel with Moses, demanding water. Why do you keep putting Jehovah to the test? Moses asks them. It's a cycle.
So Moses asks God what to do.
Yes. God tells him to take some elders, go to the rock in Horeb, and strike it with his staff. He does, and water gushes out for everyone. Moses names the place Massa, testing, and Meribah, quarreling, as a reminder.
After all these tests and provisions, they finally reach Mount Sinai.
Yes, and they camp right in front of the mountain. This is a pivotal location. Moses goes up the mountain, and God speaks.
What's the message for the people?
It's a covenant proposal. God reminds them, "You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself." Then the offer. "If you will strictly obey my voice and keep my covenant, you will certainly become my special property out of all peoples, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation."
And how do the people respond?
Unanimously. All that Jehovah has spoken, we are willing to do. They accept the covenant terms.
So preparations began for God to actually speak to them.
Yes. Moses is told to sanctify the people, have them wash their clothes. Boundaries are set around the mountain. No one is to touch it, on pain of death. It emphasizes God's holiness.
And on the third day, the mountain transformed.
Dramatically. Thunder, lightning, a thick cloud, a loud trumpet blast. Mount Sinai smoked all over and trembled violently. The people are terrified.
So terrified they ask Moses to be the intermediary.
Exactly. They tell him, "You speak with us, but do not let God speak with us for fear that we will die." They recognize the overwhelming power and holiness they're dealing with.
And this leads directly into the giving of the Ten Commandments.
Yes. God speaks all these words, starting with the foundational statement, "I am Jehovah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt."
The first few commandments focus on their relationship with God, right?
Absolutely. No other gods, no carved images for worship, don't misuse God's name. And remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy, 6 days of work. The 7th is rest, dedicated to God.
Then it shifts to how they should treat each other.
Precisely. Honor your father and mother. Then the prohibitions. You must not murder. You must not commit adultery. You must not steal. You must not give false testimony against your neighbor.
And the final one deals with inner attitude.
Right. You must not desire or covet anything that belongs to your neighbor, their house, spouse, servants, animals. It addresses the root of many sins. Wrong desire. It's a remarkably comprehensive moral code.
It really lays the groundwork for their entire society. But then there's a very practical piece of advice that comes in, not directly from God this time.
Right, from Moses' father-in-law, Jethro. He visits and sees Moses bogged down, judging the people from morning until evening, with long queues waiting.
Jethro points out this isn't sustainable.
He says, "What you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out. This is too big a load for you." Sound familiar to anyone in leadership?
Absolutely. So what's Jethro's solution?
Delegation. He tells Moses to teach the people the laws, but then select capable men fearing God, trustworthy men hating dishonest profit. Appoint them as chiefs over groups of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens.
So they handle the smaller cases.
Exactly. They judge every minor case and only bring the difficult cases to Moses. Jethro says it will make it easier for yourself by letting them share the load. It's brilliant organizational advice.
Okay, so the law is given, the judicial system is structured, then Moses formalizes the covenant.
Yes. He writes down God's words, builds an altar with 12 pillars for the 12 tribes, sacrifices are made, he reads the book of the covenant to the people.
And sprinkles blood.
Half on the altar, representing God's part, and half on the people after they again affirm, "All that Jehovah has spoken we are willing to do, and we will be obedient." It's a solemn blood covenant.
Then Moses goes back up the mountain for a long time.
40 days and 40 nights. This time he receives the actual 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone written on by God's finger, and along with them,
Detailed instructions for building a sanctuary.
incredibly detailed plans for the tabernacle. God says, make it following exactly the pattern that I am showing you. This is where God intends to reside among them.
Let's touch on some key parts. The Ark of the Testimony.
The most sacred object. An acacia wood box, overlaid inside and out with pure gold. It held the stone tablets. Poles for carrying it were never to be removed.
And the lid. The mercy seat.
Yes, a cover of pure gold with 2 golden cherubim facing each other, wings overshadowing the cover. God says that's where he would meet and speak with Moses from between the 2 cherubs.
What else was inside the main tent?
In the holy place, there was a table, also gold overlaid, for the showbread, or bread of the presence, representing God's provision, and the lampstand, the menorah, hammered from a single piece of pure gold, with 7 lamps kept burning continuously.
And the tent structure itself.
Layers of materials. Fine linen with embroidered cherubim for the innermost ceiling and walls, then coverings of goat hair, dyed ram skins, and durable seal skins on the outside. The framework was acacia wood panels slotted into silver bases, held by bars.
And a curtain dividing the sections.
A very important curtain, the veil, separating the holy place from the most holy, where the ark was. Only the high priest could enter the most holy, and only once a year.
Outside, in the courtyard.
The altar of burnt offering, larger, made of wood overlaid with copper for the animal sacrifices, and a copper basin for the priests to wash their hands and feet before ministering, emphasizing purity.
And the priests themselves needed special garments.
Oh, yes, very elaborate. Holy garments for Aaron, for glory and beauty. The ephod, like a vest, woven with gold threads, blue, purple, scarlet yarn, and fine linen. It had onyx stones on the shoulders engraved with the names of Israel's tribes.
And the breastpiece.
Attached to the ephod, the breastpiece of judgment, with 12 different gemstones set in gold, each representing a tribe. Inside it were the Urim and Thummim, used somehow for discerning God's will.
There was also a blue robe with bells.
The sleeveless coat under the ephod. It had pomegranates and golden bells around the hem. The sound of the bells signified the high priest was alive and ministering acceptably before God.
And on his head.
A turban with a shining plate of pure gold attached to the front, engraved with the words, "Holiness belongs to Jehovah," a constant reminder of the standard required.
The process of ordaining these priests was also complex.
A 7-day ceremony. Washing, dressing in the holy garments, anointing with specially formulated oil, and specific sacrifices involving applying blood to their right earlobe, right thumb, and right big toe, consecrating their hearing, actions, and walk.
There were also instructions for daily rituals.
Yes, a regular burnt offering every morning and evening, an altar of incense inside the holy place where special, fragrant incense was burned daily, symbolizing prayers.
And something about a census tax.
Every man 20 years and older had to give a half shekel of silver. It was called atonement money, a ransom for their lives, and the funds were used for the tabernacle service. It leveled the playing field, rich and poor gave the same amount.
The special oil and incense couldn't be copied.
No, the formulas were sacred. Making them for personal use or putting the anointing oil on an unauthorized person was strictly forbidden, punishable by being cut off. It stressed the uniqueness and holiness of God's service. The level of detail is just staggering. It communicates the immense importance and sacredness of this dwelling place and the rituals associated with it. It's God teaching them step by step how to approach him.
And God specifically designates the artisans, Bezalel and Oholiab.
Yes, he says he has filled them with the Spirit of God, giving them wisdom, understanding, and knowledge for all the craftsmanship required, artistic skill as a divine gift.
And right alongside these building plans, the Sabbath command is stressed again.
Very strongly. It's called a sign between God and Israel, during your generations, a lasting covenant, a day of complete rest. Profaning it meant death. It's foundational to their relationship with God.
Okay, so Moses is up on the mountain receiving all these incredibly detailed sacred instructions, but down below,
things go wrong, fast. The people see Moses is delayed 40 days is a long time, and they get restless, anxious. They go to Aaron.
and say, make us a god.
Make for us a God who will go ahead of us because we do not know what has happened to this Moses. It's a crisis of faith, a reversion to what they knew, maybe from Egypt.
And Aaron, He does it.
He does. He collects their gold earrings, melts them down, and shapes the gold into a statue of a calf, a young bull.
And the people's reaction.
They declare, "This is your God, O Israel, who led you up out of the land of Egypt." And Aaron builds an altar and proclaims a festival to Jehovah for the next day. It's this bizarre syncretism, mixing idol worship with the name of the God who just rescued them.
How does God react up on the mountain?
With fierce anger. He tells Moses what's happening, calls them a stiff-necked people, and says, "Let me alone, that my anger may blaze against them and that I may exterminate them." He even offers to make a great nation out of Moses instead.
But Moses argues with God. He intercedes.
He does, powerfully. He appeals to God's reputation. What will the Egyptians say? Reminding him of his power shown in the Exodus, and crucially reminding God of his promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Israel about multiplying their descendants.
And it works. God relents.
Jehovah began to reconsider the calamity. Moses' intercession makes a difference. Then Moses heads down the mountain with the 2 stone tablets.
And sees the calf and the partying.
His own anger flares. He throws the tablets down, shattering them at the foot of the mountain, a visceral symbol of the broken covenant. Then he deals with the calf, burns it, grinds it to powder, scatters it on water, and makes the Israelites drink it.
He confronts Aaron, who gives a pretty lame excuse. Then what?
Moses stands at the camp entrance and calls out, "Who is on Jehovah's side? Come to me." The Levites, his own tribe, rally to him.
And he gives them a grim command.
Go through the camp and kill those involved. About 3,000 men die that day. It's a harsh but necessary purging of the idolatry from their midst.
This whole incident raises a big question. Can God still dwell among them?
Exactly. God initially says he won't travel in the midst of you because they're obstinate and he might destroy them. The people mourn this. Moses then sets up his own tent, the tent of meeting, outside the camp. Anyone seeking God had to go out there.
And God meets Moses there.
Yes, the pillar of cloud would descend, and the text says, significantly, Jehovah spoke to Moses face to face, just as one man would speak to another. Incredible intimacy. Joshua, his aide, stays devotedly at the tent.
Moses isn't satisfied, though. He pushes for more.
He pleads with God. If he's found favor, show him his ways. Confirm his presence will go with them. Consider, this nation is your people. He's identifying himself fully with them again.
And God reassures him, I myself will go with you.
Yes, I will give you rest. Then Moses makes an incredibly bold request. Please show me your glory.
Can God do that?
God explains, "You cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live." But he grants a partial vision. He places Moses in a crevice of a rock, covers him with his hand as his glory passes by, and then removes his hand so Moses can see his back, but not his face. It conveys God's approachable nature, but also his overwhelming, unseeable essence.
And God commands new tablets.
Yes, 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Moses is to carve them, and God will rewrite the words. The covenant is being renewed.
And God reveals his character to Moses.
He proclaims his name, revealing his core attributes. Jehovah, Jehovah, a God merciful and compassionate, slow to anger and abundant in loyal love and truth, pardoning error. But he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. It's that balance of mercy and justice.
Moses pleads again for forgiveness for the people.
And God renews the covenant, repeating key laws about avoiding idolatry and pagan alliances in the land they are going to, and reinforcing the Sabbath law again, even during busy times like planting and harvest.
And when Moses comes down this time, something's different about him. His face is shining, radiating light from being in God's presence. So much so that he has to wear a veil when speaking to the people, only taking it off when he goes back to speak with God.
So the covenant is renewed. The relationship, though strained, is restored. Now it's time to actually build the tabernacle.
Exactly. The final section details the doing of what was commanded. Moses repeats the Sabbath instructions one more time, then calls for contributions for the tabernacle materials.
And the people respond generously.
Overwhelmingly. They bring gold, silver, bronze, yarns, linens, skins, wood, spices, oil, gemstones. So much that Moses has to tell them to stop. They had more than enough.
Then Bezalel and Oholiab get to work.
Yes. Using the skills God gave them, they and other skilled workers construct everything precisely as instructed. The ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the basin, the curtains, the framework, the priestly garments, meticulous obedience.
And the final step, assembling it all.
Piece by piece, Moses oversees the setting up of the tabernacle according to the divine blueprint. The courtyard is set up, the furniture placed, the veil hung.
And the culmination.
When the work is finished, the cloud covers the tent of meeting, and Jehovah's glory fills the tabernacle. It's the visible confirmation. God has come to dwell among his people, just as he promised. The whole narrative builds to this moment.
What an incredible story we've walked through. From slavery and oppression.
Through miraculous escape, desert wanderings, profound failures like the golden calf.
To receiving the law, building this intricate dwelling place, and finally experiencing God's presence confirmed among them.
It really charts the forging of a nation's identity. It's packed with lessons about faith, doubt, leadership, obedience, forgiveness, and the sheer persistence of divine commitment despite human failings.
From Moses' personal call at the burning bush to the collective yes at Sinai, and even the collective failure with the calf, you see this constant interplay between the divine initiative and human response.
And the establishment of law and sacred space provides the structure for that relationship moving forward. It's not just about dramatic events, it's about building a sustainable way of life centered around their covenant with God.
So thinking about this journey, the escape, the wilderness, the challenges, the detailed instructions for building something lasting, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? When you face big transitions or challenges in your own life or community, what are the foundational principles, the non-negotiables, that you rely on to guide you through? What kind of tabernacle, visible or invisible, gives you structure and a sense of purpose? Something to think about.